I almost low-key forgot to make this video, but since Blade is one of my favorite characters, we are here with the final impressions of Mortenax Blade. Since his release, I've really just used him on like every single team with like every single character I own. So I do have a lot to say and how I do think he's going to progress in the future as just a character in general. Stuck grinding in Honkai Star? Need stellar jades fast? We've got you covered. Head over to U7Buy, your ultimate gaming hub for save, fast, and cheap in-game top-ups. Whether it's Star or your other favorite games, U7 delivers instantly and players love it. Check out their Trustpilot reviews, they're actually top ranked. On the Honkai Star top-up page, you can recharge your account in seconds. When you head over to the page, all you need to do is pick the pack you do want, enter your UID and server, and buy now. If you want codes and coupons to apply, be sure to create an account for proper savings. USD is a recommended usage currency for best saving. Once everything is set, you can see the savings you're about to get. Want even extra savings? Be sure to use code PRESR at checkout for 5% off. Perfect for last minute pulls or surprising a friend. Click on the link in the description, recharge fast, save more, and keep blazing those trails. So as we know, we just kind of build this up from the first impressions. So my first impressions was obviously I was like insanely shocked this guy even made it into the actual live game. And that still holds true. Like this guy just, what doesn't he do? When you take a look at his just amp in general, it's very shocking this even made it through. Going into his ultimate, you now have a 50% vulnerability on all enemies, 30% defense shred, 50% damage percent, and then depending on if there's another ability on the team, 75% ult damage or just 75% damage for Blade, which then scales even more if you do have vertical on him. If you have his E1, then it makes him also provide ult type res lower to enemies by 20%. If you have E2, any follow-up attack or ultimate that does damage, because it becomes considered a follow-up attack, to do additional 75% damage percent. And then depending on what icon you're running on him, you can have defense shred from Pearls or Cypher. If his own, it's gonna be crit damage dealt. He just has so much amp, and so you think a character like this might be like, oh, super fast action character, which he can be built as, but his damage is also just insane. His multiplier of 350% of his max HP to all enemies in his enhanced ult is insane. The follow-up attack stuff he does is also very good with the extra skill. He just does everything. The only thing he doesn't really do is sustain, but like you can kind of run him as a sustain because of the taunt. So you taunt and then you get lower on HP. And then if you get knocked out of ultimate, you can just save your energy to recycle into it, which only is like something that's super good on stages that don't have a bunch of AoEs. A lot of enemies have AoEs, so someone on the side is probably going to die. But other than that, he just does everything. Like I genuinely think I used up all my beta luck for like the rest of 4.x because this guy is just so loaded with everything he does. And the fact that he also just, he's so loaded that he works in every team you really put him on. Like there's some teams obviously where he's not best in slot. There's some cases for the Elation team because they want their own teammates. The Break team is already set in stone, but that's kind of it. There is a lot more places where he is usable. Like you can even use Bro with Fine on because he's actually just that competitive in that slot. And then his actual dedicated team, follow-up team, mainly with Asheville. The synergy between these two is insane. They have good frequency for each other. It's not like made each other levels of frequency. Like Asheville has good frequency, Blade has good frequency, but it's not like the amount that bridges them to get a lot of ultimates or a lot of energy and a lot of charges. Some themselves is good, but you obviously need the other units on the team to help with that so you can actually bridge that little frequency gap, which is also the other thing we're going to talk about. This is a team that's supposed to be Blade's main spot, being the follow-up team, and the team is yet to be complete, which is just insane because, again, Bladevale is one of the best teams in the game right now. It's an ultimate wheelchair and just genuinely such an insane team. You just run old wheelchair with new wheelchair and you have one of the best teams in the game. And then you can slot in someone to be wheelchair that somewhat synergizes, i.e. Akron or Fei Xiao, because they do work. And speaking of Fei Xiao specifically, I'm actually really surprised at the damage she can do. Like yes, in the end, she's still technically being wheelchaired, especially if you have investment on Asheville and Blade. She can't keep up, she's just an older unit. But just seeing her hit the numbers she can hit now is actually quite intriguing. I'm very used to her having her ultimates peak at like 1 to 2 million if sustainless. So sustain around the 1 million and sustain this around near 2 million. And then with Asheville and sustain this, it brought up mine to like around 2 million-ish, maybe closer to 3 million. And then now with Bladevale, it can go upwards of 4 million, which is just like insane. I never thought I'd see Fei Xiao hit those numbers. But yeah, I've also used Blade at like every investment. Really, there's not a single place where he is bad at E0S0, E0S1, E1S0, E1S1, E2S1, so on and so forth. It's also just great that he has a bunch of light cone options as well, since you don't have to pull for his signature, because his signature is the best for his damage, and it's also really good quality of life, which we'll talk about in a second. But the amount of light cones he has open to him, premium options, you have Cyphers, especially especially because Cypher's Icon is just really good, and it's really good with Blade. And then for free-to-play options, tutorial is just, you know, always good. You got the Battle Pass one. If you are a Battle Pass buyer, you can just use that. You got Pearls, which is a bit annoying because you have to build the effect hit rate. And then for damage, he has options like Good and Sleep Well and Boundless Choreo, so on and so forth. He has a lot of options, and then also damage centric for the Akron Sig as well. But yeah, the only like real big problem, which is manageable, is getting into ultimate right away if you don't have a signature. Because when you attack and you even have like a Von Walk setup, you don't have to actually, I don't know why I said have to. You're not able to fully just go into ultimate unless you get hit a bunch. This isn't inherently a big problem because, like I said, you just give him Von Walk, he gets to act first, you hit, and then he has the taunt, so he just takes the hits. But in some stages, you're not always going to have enemies hit like that, or they just don't do anything. And that also depends on the build if you're not actually running Von Walk and stuff, since in general, you want to get best damage out of your blade, so a lot of people are going to be running Bone. If they have E2, they're going to have Durance. So just that little bit of quality of life his signature provides to get you into that ultimate right away is actually quite helpful. It's still unfortunate because after that first ult, the extra energy isn't necessarily something to consider. Doesn't really do much. It helps you a bit to get closer to enhanced ult, but that's about it. It's not really game changing. I do wish they kind of made that maybe every like few turns, like 2 to 3 turns. If they did every turn, maybe lower the amount of energy where you can still get into ultimate right away, but you know, not get a bunch. Or maybe they'll make it to where you get this amount at the start of the wave, or like the first turn in the wave like it does. And then every turn thereafter, you get like maybe 5 to 10. I think that would make the signature so much more valuable just because it would add up. Because again, in waves, you get 3 waves at most in endgame. In the big endgames that aren't pure fiction, it's usually 2, sometimes even 1. Occasionally 3, but that's mainly a pure fiction thing. And then it also doesn't really help the light cone case because his actual dupes are so good. Like again, E1, the all type res lower, the extension of his ultimate state where you can actually just permanently stay in it depending on the frequency of your team. And then E2 just being just, oh my god, what a dupe. Makes ultimates considered a follow-up attack if they do damage, the increase to that, and also the lower charge, so you get significantly more talent procs because you just have less charge that you need. It's insane. Like every investment I've used just on Blade at E0, S0, E0, S1, like all that stuff I've told you, he just works good everywhere. And even on the teams he isn't like best in, or maybe you have like one option that's more invested than Blade, so they can kind of beat him out, so that would depend. He also has that advantage that Trippy did, that one, he just goes on like every team, and he can help you significantly with support options, because he can open up a slot on an existing team just because of how universal his buffs slash debuffs can be. He's just great to generally own. It's quite literally like pulling a modern Trippy. They pretty much just took Trippy, made a modern version, except the old thing where it's like, oh yeah, Trippy does damage that adds up to that to battle a lot, which can be true, but mainly just kind of only applies to if she's also getting buffed by others on the team. For Blade in general, like even if he's not getting buffed, he actually does do pretty good. Like obviously in like 5.x, 6.x, when he's not getting buffed, that's going to be falling off a lot. But for 4.x standards, and then if you do have some form of buffs, this guy is insane. And then if you, the little bit I have wanted to talk about, which is my investment, because on my account he is maxed out, E6S5. Like I put him on any team and he is the main DPS. This guy does so much damage, dude. It's insane. His animations are super satisfying. I wish they made the sound effects for his actual skill a little more beefy, but like whatever. That's just a minor nitpick from me. But yeah, mine, I just throw him on a team. He is the main DPS. The damage this guy does on the actual team, which I run him for my best team, is Blade Veil plus Cyrene plus Hyacine. I want to replace Hyacine just because she does nothing for Asheville, and Asheville does do a lot of damage. And by the way, just a max invested Asheville and a max invested in Mortenax Blade. I can't even describe to you guys how insane it is. Like the damage that just comes out of those 2 units is insane. Like they are the wheelchair at E0, S0 pretty much. Now imagine that at max dupe. It's insane, and you guys probably have seen a bunch from my background footage and the solo that I probably did in the beginning. I don't really know what I'm gonna do for the background footage yet, but this dude is just insane. You throw him on any team and any investment, he just cooks. His main team not being complete yet, and his value on future units seem good. Like the upcoming character Himiko seems like she can very much use him. Of course, I highly doubt that's gonna be the thing that stays. Like I'm sure Himiko will probably get like a teammate or 2 that would replace him on the team, but otherwise he is gonna be good on there. The follow-up team, which is like his home, he's going to be staying there. And then once they get their DPS, where they're all 3 just super synergistic with each other, that's going to work out to be insane. And then for future units, just like Trippy, you can just put them on the team. Like when Trippy released, there was that. My Day came out, Castros came out, Anoxa came out. You can put Trippy on all 3 of their teams. Finon came out. If you had the ability to put him into Ultimate quick, Trippy was great, especially if you had the E1. Then you had 3.6, where you had Evernight. You can use Trippy on those teams as well. that's gonna be the same thing for Blade, I think. Like every DPS that kind of releases Blade is just gonna be a really good option to just throw in there. Maybe he's not always going to be the best, but he's going to be really good. Because right now you can use him with like a Sustainless Evanescence slot, a Sustainless Dot slot. You can use him with Finon. You can use him on the best in slot teams being ult related or just follow-up related. Like you can even use Dude on break. Like again, as I mentioned, the team is pretty set in stone, but you can still do it. That's just how insane he is. So final impressions of Blade, this guy is a monster. I will always be surprised that this guy made it through beta like he did. Insane amp at E0 S0. The more dupes you get, the more it becomes. Great light cone flexibility. My only little gripe is without his signature light cone, it's a bit annoying to get him into ultimate right away. But there's a lot of workarounds with that, i.e. Von Walk, even though it's not a complete solution. But once you go into ultimate, it's no longer a problem. But I do hope you guys found this video helpful. If you wanted some influence on decision or anything, which, you know, the banner is about to leave like very, very soon. So it's kind of late, but more if you found the video enjoyable, I guess. If you did, drop a like, we really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell for future videos like this along with all the types of style content. I'll see you later. Peace out.